Okay, so in order to further extend the concept of input-output analysis, I'm just going to show you that how you will conduct, how you will read data from an input-output table, how you will calculate transaction table, how you will construct a coefficient matrix, and how you will calculate direct and total requirement matrix. So before going to that, input-output analysis is a counting framework. As I already discussed in my previous lecture, this will be just a direct debit credit based framework. That is why it is also called accounting framework analysis. Input-output analysis can be used to predict changes in overall economic activity as a result of some changes in the local economy. So how we can, for example, if we have a complete input-output table, if some specific change in the prices occur, if some changes occur in the demand, maybe due to some exogenous factor or maybe due to some endogenous factor, so we can easily forecast, we can easily measure those changes. For example, if the price of a specific or if the demand of a specific product increase, then definitely we can check that, we can estimate that while using the input-output analysis from an input-output table. So that is why this input-output table provide a complete picture of the whole economy or for a specific local economy, because recently most of the local input-output table, the economist, the researcher constructing local input-output based table, provincial level, district level, in order to further clarify the economy, that what kind of input is coming and what kind of input is going out from a specific economy. So we can also use input-output analysis as a predictive model to estimate impacts. So recently some of the researchers used just like in a probability input-output model, which they use specifically when some specific incident occur, just like the current COVID-19. What is the impact on the supply? What is the impact on the education? What is the impact on different sector? So because some specific product demand down, some specific product demand is very high. So we can also calculate such like measure. We can also know that what kind of impact on one specific sector, impact on the other sector. So this is also the input-output model can also be used as a predictive model, a forecasting model to estimate those impacts. Application and extension. So I will discuss this in great detail, that what kind of application or extension of input-output currently economists and researchers use. So the most important thing is we use it for impact analysis. That what is the impact of a specific change in a specific economy? What kind of exogenous impact and what kind of endogenous impact? Multiplier analysis, key sector analysis, that which sectors are the most prominent sector in a specific economy. We can also use that which sector are most prominent energy, which sector are mostly consuming the energy. So I mean directly we will know, but indirectly we will not be able to know. So basically input-output give a picture of direct and indirect both. We can also use it for structural decomposition analysis. We can also use it for singular value decomposition analysis. We can also use this for product mix analysis, etc., etc. Recently, the researcher also extend the concept of input-output for the environment in order to measure the footprinting, in order to measure the CO2 emissions, the water emissions, the land footprinting, etc., etc. Recently, some of the researchers already construct the tourism based input-output analysis. They construct social accounting metrics, tourism accounts, inter-regional input-output analysis in order to measure, in order to understand the behavior, the structure of a specific economy in more detail. The construction of a social accounting matrix is also based on the input-output model. So input-output is being a very aggregated type of table. When we further do disaggregation, then it's become a social accounting matrix. So for social accounting matrix, we can also use CG model, which is also called computable general equilibrium models, in order to understand, in order to formulate specific policies for specific sectors. So there are three basic components of input-output model. Which are these three components? One is called transaction table, one is called direct requirement table, and one is called total requirement tables. Input model, output models are a class of model. So these models are basically deterministic. These models are deterministic models. Each and everything is known to you. So we can also switch these models to the dynamic models. through the application of mathematical techniques and the use of a symmetric input-output table. So symmetric input-output table is a table where the number of input is equal to output. The column sum will be equal to the row sum, as I already discussed in the previous lecture. Because in input-output table, sometimes we use matrix and make matrix. I will also give a lecture to you people that what is use matrix and what is make matrix. So these tables, the symmetric input-output table, allow for a vast range of analytical studies to be carried out. So the key contribution of this class of economic analysis is the estimate generated take account of not only the direct but also indirect effect. So we know that how much, let's suppose a company emit in environment, how much, let's suppose the cement industry while producing cement, how much they emit. So that is basically the direct emission while producing cement or producing steel, but it totally omit those indirect emission. For example, if they only producing, they packing the cement, so they already when they blasting in the mountains, they blasting for the specific stone which they want to use in the cement industry. So there is also some emission emit in the nature, in the environment. Similarly, when they carry those big stones from the stone area, from the mountains to the factory, they also mean different truck, different machinery also use diesel or petrol. So I mean they also emit some specific emission. So basically, in while using the input-output model, while using the input-output table, we will be able to measure both direct and indirect effects occurring within the production structure. So there are three basic components of input model. What is transaction table, what is direct requirement table, and one is total requirement table. I will discuss these transaction table, total requirement one by one, but before going to that, you need to understand what is a transaction table, where just like in the accounting framework, there is a transaction going on. What is debit and what is credit? So similarly, we will also construct a table where there will be such like debit and credit will be going on. There will be a transformation, there will be a transaction. So transaction table is a table which shows the monetary flows of goods and services in a local economy. So basically, there are two types of table. One is physical quantity and one is monetary. So basically, I am just going to discuss a monetary transaction table. In monetary transaction table, there will be a flow of goods and services in a local economy, which represent monetary flows for a given time period. So normally in the input-output table, we construct it for 1 year. Okay, so for every 1 year, we will construct this input-output table. We will construct this transaction table. Then from the transaction table, we will be able to construct the other things. From the transaction table, we will be knowing the total requirement matrix, we will be knowing the multiplier analysis, we will be measuring the impact analysis, etc., etc. So in transaction table, which I will show you very soon, the total outlays or the total input will be equal to the total output. Intermediates purchased are goods and services purchased and used in the local production process. So in the transaction table, the intermediate purchases are goods and services purchased and used in the local production. So mean these are the final demand. Final demand mean the household, government, export, etc., etc. Final demand are purchases for final consumption. Final payment are payment for factor or input outside intermediate production process. So you can see from this table, this is just a simple input-output table of different three sectors. Let's suppose we have a 3-sector economy. So mean this is the transaction table. This is just a simple transaction table, as I already discussed in my previous lecture. This mean these are the input, okay, and these are the output. So mean agriculture sector getting input from agriculture itself. So this is $10. $10 of which is used by agriculture itself. So agriculture using $10 amount of products from agriculture. Similarly, agriculture $6 by health, $2 by services. Okay, and $18 is sold to consumer, and this is the total output. Similarly, this is the total input from the agriculture sector. $10 worth of input from agriculture, $4 worth of input from health, and $6 worth of input from services. So this is basically the transaction table. This red box is called intermediate consumption matrix. So mean there is only a consumption, there is only a transaction between industries, between different economic sectors. So this is basically the final demand. So basically this is not included in the intermediate consumption matrix. In the journal structure, we have the value added or the primary inputs, and this is the total output and final demand. Maybe there will be some government demand, some household demand, maybe some export demand, etc., etc. So this is just the transaction table. Now we will be using different mathematical equation in order to find the total requirement matrix, the technical coefficient matrix. So how we will calculate the technical coefficient matrix? So basically this is the 10, 6, 2, 4, 4, 3, 6, 2, 1. This is the intermediate consumption matrix. So basically when we will denote this with Z, and this X is the output. So how we will calculate the technical coefficient? When we divide 10 divided by 36. Okay. So this way we will calculate the technical coefficient matrix. This is our output and this is our final demand. For example, this is final demand for these three sectors: agriculture, health, service. 18 for agriculture final demand, for health 26 is the final demand, and for service $35 is the final demand. And this is the output of agriculture, health and service. So normally we write this X is equal to AX plus F. A is the technical coefficient matrix, X is the output, and plus F is the final demand. When we add this, we will get the total output. So X minus AX coming on this side, X minus AX is equal to F. Then taking, because this is 1 which is identity, identity minus 1, X taking common, so X is equal to F. Okay, so multiplying I minus A into I minus A, are taking this on this side, so I minus A, it will become 1 F divided by I minus A. So we can also write this F divided by I minus A. Okay, so we can also write this I identity minus 1 F. So basically this thing is called Leontief inverse matrix. Leontief inverse matrix. Okay, inverse matrix. Now how you will calculate Leontief inverse matrix, and what basically this Leontief inverse matrix do? So from this example I will show you that how we will calculate Leontief inverse matrix. So Leontief inverse matrix can be calculated as, while before we need to calculate the technical coefficient matrix. So how we will calculate technical coefficient matrix, or it is also called direct requirement table. Direct requirement are the purchase of resources input by a sector from all sectors to produce $1 of output. So how we will calculate this? So this is basically the definition of this. When you divide, what you will divide? 10 divided by 36. So 10 divided by 36 will be equal to 0.278. Okay. Similarly, dividing 10 with 36, you will get 0.276. So mean the first row with this column 6. So this is second sector input, health input using by agriculture 6, and the total output of health is 37. So 6 divided by 36 is 0.16. Sorry, 6 divided by 37 is 0.162, and 2 divided by 47 is 0.045. Then for the next, you will take this and multiplying with this column. So 4 divided by 36 is 0.11, 4 divided by 37 0.108, and 3 divided by 47 0.068. Similarly for services, you will take this services column, a row, multiply with this whole column which is output. X represents the output, and this is the intermediate consumption matrix. So you will get this thing. And similarly for the final payment, because in the previous we have the final payment is 16, 25, 38, 0, and the total output of final payment sector is 79. So dividing this with this, you will get this intermediate direct requirement matrix, and this matrix is also called coefficient matrix. Okay, and we denote normally with A, capital A. Okay, so basically this is this matrix A11, A12, and how we will calculate this? Z intermediate consumption matrix divided by the total output of a specific sector. So when we calculate this, now we will calculate the total requirement table. And how we will calculate the total requirement table? Total requirement table is this one. And this way we will calculate. So now we have, let's suppose 4 sector. So what should we need to do? We need identity matrix will be 1 0 0 and 0 0 1 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 0 1. Okay, so when you subtract this I minus a, okay, I minus a means so minus the A matrix. So we have already calculated the A matrix. This is our A matrix. So how we will calculate this? You can use some specific software for this. So after that we will calculate. So I'm going to show you that how you will calculate. So you can use different calculator, but the easiest way will be if you use R software or if you use some MATLAB or some other specific software. So that will be good. So at this way, when you calculate this I minus A, identity minus coefficient matrix, this is the identity matrix, so I minus A, then you need to take the inverse of this matrix, minus 1. So when you calculate this, this is basically the total requirement table, and this is our Leontief matrix. Okay, so in the next lecture I will show you that how you will interpret the elements of a Leontief inverse matrix.